Hi. Many times we heard you asking for enabling remote access and multi-user networking for your Hill devices. Even before the outbreak of COVID-19, this was a hot topic, but now it's burning hot, both for industry and academia alike. So far, you relied heavily on third-party solutions that add cost and complexity to your remote Hill setup. My name is Ognjen Gagrica. I'm an application engineer, and I will take you through a set of features that enable fully networked Hill experience without needing to use third-party solutions anymore. Some history first. You may well remember Hardware Info tool from previous releases. It used to be in the top left corner. It could only tell you what devices are detected, but you could not manage them in the sense of being able to choose the device that you will be working on. This was handled autonomously by Schematic Editor and Hill SCADA Auto Detect functions. With enabled Ethernet connectivity from previous release, and now with Device Manager, you're given full control over device selection and creation of your personal Hill setup. Let's see how that works. As you can see, the UI is quite different. There's a lot going on. So let's start from the most interesting part, the network devices list. Devices detected on the network contain information like device type, interface, availability status, also identifiers like device name, serial number, and some firmware details. It is possible to rename devices so that you can better describe their usage on the network. So here I know that there are a couple of Hill 604s connected in parallel. I see this Hill 402TA. I know the test automation team is using this one. And then there are simply those with inventive names used by our developers. Status icons are quite important as they inform us whether Hill is busy or available. We can even see the person or the PC that is occupying the Hill. The blue status icon indicate devices that are available only to my PC. On the left side is your active Hill setup. Here you take explicit control of devices that you want to use. By pressing the Connect button, your setup becomes active and other users on the network are prevented from taking access. Right now, I'm connected to two Hill 604s, and this is also indicated by the status icons. If I disconnect the setup, it's no longer active and devices become available for everyone else on the network. You can always use the refresh button to get the latest status of the device on the network. You can add as much different devices as you like to your setup, but you'll be able only to use those that are available. Now, in order not to chase your devices for every session, you can save your setup and then load it for next use. Also, you can define the path to your default setup configuration file. Even if a device is not detected on the network, you can still add it to your setup by entering its serial number. Later, when it appears, it will be automatically added. Depending on your network settings, Hill will either be automatically detected or you will have to discover it manually by typing in the IP address. The Hill IP address is usually assigned automatically through DHCP, but it can be configured as static IP from Firmware Manager. Until now, the USB was only connectivity option with Typhoon software. In this case, the remote access to Hill testbed pretty much required a dedicated PC with some remote desktop software. This adds cost and complexity to your setup, but it also makes the utilization of testbed inefficient in multi-user environment. Take this setup for example. Physically, it consists of 3 devices in parallel, and say I have to use only 2 of them, which is indicated by this setup, while my colleague needs to use the top device. Previously, if connected to a remote desktop with Typhoon software open, I will occupy all 3 hills, leaving my colleague waiting for no reason other than technical. Now, with Ethernet connectivity upgraded with multi-user, multi-device networking, each hill is a separate resource, and Typhoon software is accessing from your PC directly with no remote PC in between. So, I can see these 2 hills, I can use them, while simultaneously my colleague can take the top hill from his PC. Surely you could have avoided remote desktop before by using USB over network solutions. However, with highly varying degree of success. In our experience, such solutions are helpful, but unreliable when used outside of local network. Our proprietary Hill networking solution has shown great results in tests performed both in local and wide area networks. Let's see what's new in Firmware Manager in context of multi-user networking. You can perform actions either from the drop-down menu or the contextual right-click menu. As before, you're able to change configuration of the firmware and update firmware version. The new option is to change the device INI file in order to rename the device, assign static IP address, and change other network parameters. However, from remote access perspective, the most interesting is the Reboot Hill option. Before this release, Hill Reboot option was only available through API in standalone test scripts. Given the importance of being able to reboot Hill in manual work as well, we decided to make it available from user interface, and this eliminates another item from your cost list: smart sockets and extension cords. You can also perform reboot from Hill SCADA. So, to summarize, no more remote desktop, no more USB over network, and no more smart sockets for your remote Typhoon Hill experience. We can't wait for you to try out these new features, and please do let us know how it worked for you in the comments. Bye!